Good afternoon, or rather good evening, everyone. Many thanks for waiting. This is a press conference following the Foreign Affairs Council of today. High Representative Federica Mogherini will say a few words and then we'll take a couple of questions. High Representative, you have the floor.
Thank you, Maya. I'll try to keep it short, first of all, because we talked several times during the day, also because we have clearly run late. The second part of the Foreign Affairs Council, after a very important session with the defense and foreign ministers together, where, as you know, we've taken important decisions on European defense, focused first of all on the situation in the Western Balkans. I debriefed the ministers on my meetings, talks in my visits in the entire region, in all the 6 partners. And there was a clear, unanimous support for the messages I've been passing in the region and bilaterally to each of the 6, and a strong commitment to a credible European perspective for the entire region. We will bring this work forward in the occasion of the European Council in a few days from now. We also hosted the Foreign Minister of Egypt for an informal exchange of views. We discussed mainly the need to work together to the economic and social reform agenda of the country. The European Union main focus is the young population of Egypt, growing and very young population of the country that deserves all our support. The European Union is doing a lot to support especially job creation and education for boys and girls in Egypt. We also discussed rule of law, human rights issues, and our work on the political dynamics in the country. We also focused on some fields of bilateral cooperation that are mutually beneficial for the European Union and Egypt, such as our cooperation on counterterrorism and security, but also on migration. We then discussed with Minister Shukri the set of common engagements with the main regional issues we have as a priority, as a shared priority. First of all, the Middle East peace process, where we share the objective of keeping the 2-state perspective alive and possibly advancing towards this. We decided to work together in this respect, but also the situation in Libya, and Syria, and in general terms, the work in the region. Ministers then had another 3 points of discussion. First of all, I updated them on the progress we are having on our external work on migration. Before I will bring the same assessment to the heads of state and government on Thursday at the European Council. Work is proceeding well. As all know, there is no magic solution to the issue of managing migration flows, but we see a series of encouraging results of our determined work, also thanks to the Maltese presidency that is doing an excellent work in this respect, and our partnership with the IOM and the UNHCR, and obviously our migration compacts with our African partners. Ministers also focused once again on the Middle East peace process. We reaffirmed our consolidated common united position on the Middle East peace process. I updated ministers on the contacts I've had in the recent month, including with the American administration, and we are proceeding with the preparation for the Association Council with Israel, as decided in the previous Foreign Affairs Council in February, as well as with high-level meetings with the Palestinian Authority. Last but not least, ministers adopted Council conclusions on the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the situation worries us a lot. This is, by the way, an issue I discussed at length during my recent visit to the Vatican last week. Let me share with you further information on which I also updated ministers today, even if it was not part of our formal agenda of the Council. The European Union will host in Brussels on the 5th of April conference on Syria and the region, supporting the future of Syria and the region. Co-chairing this international conference with the United Nations and with the governments of Germany, Kuwait, Norway, Qatar and the United Kingdom. It's a follow-up to the London conference last year, checking where we are with the pledges of the international community to support Syrians inside Syria and in the neighboring countries, but also strongly endorsing and encouraging and supporting the UN-brokered political process, talks in Geneva. I'm in constant contact with Staffan de Mistura to support his work, and also to assess the regional conditions, but also to assess the conditions under which a post-agreement assistance can be provided once a credible political transition is underway. This is also part of the efforts, the work that the European Union is doing on Syria with our regional initiative, our round of talks with 8 of the regional players, and we hope that the Brussels conference on the 5th of April can again support strongly the UN work on the political track, but also try to establish a regional and international framework for that support for the humanitarian work, but also for looking at the future, how we can together support the future of Syria and the region. I'll stop here. I apologize, we do not have too much time for the questions, but we'll try to do our best. Sorry, I did your job.
Yeah. Yes, so